All right, good evening. It's 6 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order for the Greater Rutland County Supervisory Union. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first order of business is to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Lisa.
Sure.
All those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Amanda, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I said aye.
Okay. All right, motion carries unanimously. On to staff and student highlights. We have Jay from West Rutland.
Chris has my slides.
Perfect.
All right, well, good evening. For those, I think I know everybody, but Jay Sliker, West Rutland Principal. Chris, you can go to the next slide. So I say this every year. We're one of the last pre-K to 12 schools still left in the state. Our enrollment is just over 340. We actually just received a couple of new students over vacation. Some of the things, this is my 7th year now at West Rutland, and as we've had turnover in staff, we've really tried to re-envision looking at the strategic plan and the mission statements that we have in our continuous improvement plan. And some of the things that we have been working on, we have a very accomplished music, art, and athletic program. A lot of people know us for that. We actually have been doing a lot around STEM the last 3 or 4 years. I hired a new librarian when the previous one retired. She brought with her new energy. It's Deanna Rodolfi, who has been a 5th grade teacher. And we have reimagined STEM for our 5th through 8th graders. So if you think about the common 5th through 8th grader, they're not always the most energetic about things at times. So Deanna has really embraced that, and it's something that I do need to continue to highlight. One of the things that we actually do is she brought with her a version of Shark Tank, where the students actually create an idea, pitch the idea using technology, and then construct the idea. And so a lot of it is food-based, but not always. And so she's done a lot of very cool things along with coding and other things that really, it's nice to see the kids engaged in that, especially at that 5th through 8th grade. We also have a lot of extracurriculars. So drama, and we have a book club. Everyone kind of laughed at me when I said I want a book club. And Deanna Rodolfi actually has the book club, and we have about 14 or 15 students who come, and they actually go to book competitions. We've actually been down last year, went down to the Battle of the Books in Brattleboro, and our school did very well down there. It's just nice to see this happen. And last year, actually, Deanna also, we had a GRCSU Battle of the Books right at West Rutland, with all of the schools participating in that. But we also have got a wonderful jazz band, and also this year, Phil Henry added a bluegrass band, which is actually really cool. So this is a fiddle, this is a banjo, this is a mandolin, and they are playing some really cool music. And that's actually been a big hit, getting different instruments into the hands of the children. We also got a great community support. It goes without saying. We have a great connection with the town hall. I'm sorry for the typo, I just see that now. The carving studio, the rec department, the library, the fire department, the American Legion, you name it. If we need something, we pretty much will just pick up the phone and we get what we ask for. And always knowing that they can come to us, and if they need support. Actually, we were just at the VFW for Veterans Day, or at the American Legion. They wanted folks to help, and so we were able to get a number of folks there to help serve our veterans on Veterans Day. So those are the types of things that we can do in all of our small communities. Chris, next slide, please. So our pre-K, so we've got a pretty large pre-K program. We have 16 students that are in it. We also have a number of students who come for services for special education, and then they go on their way during the day. And we have really tried to make sure that our pre-K program is strong and is cutting edge, and they have what is called the STARS. They have a whole different, if you're not familiar with pre-K, they have a whole different set of regs and a whole different standards that they have to follow. And Joy French and our pre-K folks do a great job making sure that we aligned all of these, no pun intended, aligned all of these STARS, that standards that we have to follow. Just like the other GRCSU schools, we're using UFly, or the University of Florida Literacy Initiative, in K2. And this year, a couple of our schools are using what is called iReady. It is a literacy program for grades 3 through 5. It's something that actually we were lacking, and through the work of a couple of my teachers, and I'm working with our curriculum coordinator, Tyler Wiederman, we were able to navigate. We heard about iReady, and we have embraced it, and it's actually a really good program. It'd be interesting to see how we do over the long haul. Math, Bridges, we have been using Bridges. I know this year was the first year for adoption across all of our GRCSU schools. West Rutland's been using Bridges for a number of years, and CPM, we actually use the college preparatory mathematics. It's part of Bridges, or an extension. We use it in grades 6, 7, and 8. And that's something that across the GRCSU we're also doing. What's nice is by getting all of these aligned, we can start working on, we actually just talked about it today, common assessments, common expectations. So that is really good. And actually last year we got all of the grades 6, 7, and 8 math teachers together to actually have a conversation about how they were using CPM. And that was actually a really rich conversation. And they came away with a lot of good work that they've been doing this year. Chris, the next slide. And this is a pretty short slideshow, by the way. I mentioned STEM. Actually, one of the things that we did besides Shark Tank, rubber band powered machines, and what is called the marble roller coaster. So it's almost like a Rube Goldberg type machine, where they put the marble in, and it's got to go through all these different things, and the kids really learn a lot about physics and motion when it comes to this. And last year, this year, I actually had to have a parent come in. Their student was so upset that it wasn't working. They're like, I'm trying to help my child understand this. And I said, well, they're all in the hallway. Come on in. So he came in after school one day, and I showed him which one was his students. And he's like, oh, well, why did he do this? And we're just talking about perpetual motion. So the students really walk away with this hands-on. I will tell you, the flip side of this is they make a god-awful mess on a regular basis. So STEM is, and it's low-tech STEM. Notice nothing in here talks about 3D printers. We're not talking about high-tech stuff. There's no robots. There's no anything. These are low-tech that we're using. We're using a lot of computer programs, but not actually going out and getting certain things that we could use. When everybody thinks STEM, that they're 3D printing, it's so much beyond that, the true essence of STEM, especially at that 5 through 8 grade level. But I've listed here for 7, 8. We also have what are called our foundations programs for our students who are on individualized education programs. They have, I created these 6 years ago after my first year, where we teach core classes at their grade level. And so these are highly individualized classes. And that has been duplicated down at Pulteney 2 years ago, and they continue to use that. And it's been a real positive, because if you've got a student who is, let's say, 16, 17, and they are significantly behind both cognitively and sometimes emotionally, they're unable to maintain, let's say, a 11th grade U.S. history class. But they still need U.S. history. They still need to know the essence of U.S. history and meet the standards that are set forth, but they need it at their grade level, their appropriate educational level. And so these are co-taught classes with a special educator and a regular educator. And those are a real positive for our school. We offer those grades 7 through 12. And then we do a ton of work around our strategic planning. This last couple of years, and especially this year, we've got all this tremendous amount of knowledge base, and we can learn from each other. And so the last couple of years, we have really been working on making sure that what happens in third grade complements what happens in both fourth grade, but also that second grade is supporting what goes to third. And when I meet with my teachers, especially at the mid-year PLP, I remind them, have you ever talked to your colleagues specifically about what next year, what their expectations are? And so when we have these summative evaluations, especially in May, have you talked to, let's say you're a third grade teacher, have you talked to that fourth grade teacher, where do you expect them to be? Sometimes teachers get so focused with their grade level or their subject area that they don't realize the bigger picture. So we spent a lot of time on breaking down those barriers. And then I listed clubs again. I apologize for that. Actually, one of the clubs that did not get mentioned, Roots, is actually the Bluegrass, but we have a great after-school destination imagination team, which has won statewide awards year in and year out. Wendy Dow's our middle school English teacher, and 2 volunteers come in and run that program twice a week. We actually have, that program has gotten so big now, we actually run 2 different age groups of that program. And that's all after school. Athletics, obviously soccer, basketball, baseball, softball, Quarry Valley bass fishing, and embracing the community. We have I mentioned this I think last year, we have a program called Everybody Wins. And Everybody Wins is a literacy initiative, but also a mentor program statewide. I brought it with me from my other school when I was in Rutland City, and this program has only grown. And we have volunteers that come into our school 2 days a week to read with, we target 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. And it is working on literacy, but it's also working on mentorship. And we actually have a literacy evening, and Everybody Wins provides us 50 plus, 60 plus, sometimes 100 plus books annually to give out to our students. So we have these literacy nights. We usually try to do one in the fall and one in the spring, right there at West Rutland in the library. And it's a great program. So Everybody Wins Vermont, based out of Montpelier. One of my goals was to get a PTO up and running. Well, 3 years ago we got it up and running, and they continue to do a great job. They have done a couple of dances and a couple of other events for the families. They help with trunk or treat. One of the neat things they did this year was not only did we have an elementary dance that was geared with music, and we, it's a big difference between a high school dance and an elementary dance. So these are geared towards elementary, but they came to me and said, we want to have a sensory-free dance for 1 hour before the music starts. So what happens is we have a lot of our students who are on the spectrum who actually come to this. Their parents we invite parents, there's no charge for them. And they walk away like, holy cow, my child can come to a social function without being over sensory, all this input coming in. There's no flashing music, or flashing lights, there's no loud music. And it's really cool to see. And that was the PTO's idea to do that. So we do 2 of those a year. And Night of Shining Stars, NOSS, that's our big event of teachers and the students showing their work. Last year I gave the students or the teachers a charge that we had become very stale and they needed to kickstart this. And so several of our teachers who were alum or are alum of West Rutland, like Donnie Dungeon, said, when I was a student, we had to do this, this, and this. And that just was this firestorm. So last year, the Night of Shining Stars, I know Mr. Mosier's online, he was there. It was standing room only. We actually invited the fire department in and they gave out over 70 smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. We brought in the town, we brought in the Historical Society. We had all these different groups come in. Not only were they there, the teachers, they stepped up. We had science experiments going on in the cafeteria that the kids could actually see and the parents could see. We had concerts going on. We had all sorts of different things going on. This used to be just in our cafeteria, or in our gym, and this last year it was the gym, the lobby, went down the hallway and into the cafeteria. We took over that whole open space when you first come into the school. And that was just great. That was all led by the teachers. I turned them loose. We're gonna have a meeting first week of February to talk about it again. If anything, the feedback we got was maybe we went too far. But the fire department was really thrilled. Think about that. We got 70 carbon monoxide and smoke detectors into the hands of kids, or into the hands of the parents. And actually some of our teachers, they were happy to give them out to whoever wanted them. And one of the other things, Wendy Dowse, who I mentioned, does Destination Imagination. She also runs a Vermont Humanities Camp for the last 2 weeks of June. We continually get a very nice grant of $10,000 from the Vermont Humanities Council. And it's open to students from other schools. We had several Rutland Town students over the last couple of years. We have had students from Middletown Springs come to this. It's a really cool offering that Wendy and Hannah Bennett, our science teacher, actually ran last year. And there are themes each year. And so the Vermont Humanities Council has just been a real positive influence with us. And it just gives the kids something else to do, because not everybody's an athlete. Not everybody's interested in some of the things we offer, and yet you get to this humanities camp and they just flourish. Wanted to just give a picture. This is we moved our book fair from the library. I'm sorry if I touched that, Chris. Moved the book fair out of the library, moved it to the lobby. And as long as they didn't cut people off, hopefully it's good. And so that's a really cool thing that we did. I have one more slide though, Chris, or did I completely mess it up?
I don't know what happened, but I lost my network connection. So keep talking.
Okay.
I'll get it.
All right. So, well, all it was that we had some pictures of different things. So, if memory serves me correct, we participate in a lot of things that our other Quarry Valley high schools do participate in. Girls at Work up at VTC, where we send our students up to VTC, our female students up there, to learn about all the employment opportunities for young ladies in our state. We still run our career cafes where we're bringing in employers to talk to our kids about what opportunities. And you've got Casella Waste Management, Casella Construction, the military, the hospital, engineering firms. People have had their own children. My son's a mechanical engineer. Come in and talk about what they actually do. And these are just kids that went to our schools or went to Stafford Tech and trying to show students that these are opportunities that they can have. And most of them, or a lot of them, they need no college education. They just need a good work ethic. So that is something else that we do. And let's see. Oh, this is another, sorry, I need even more. Sorry, I thought this was gonna be a short one. This goes with a lot of the work that I've been doing on Wednesdays. Our teachers have Wednesday meetings after school. I've restructured those. I spoke a little bit about that. SE4 is student engagement. That's a district and SU-wide goal. We've been spending a lot of time working on that. And we have what are called action planning teams, and I listed them. In fact, actually tomorrow after school, they've got to present what they have been working on to their colleagues. And these are mixed interest groups that the teachers have to produce products and be able to come to us and say, this is how we want to improve our school. So we've got a community engagement, the Night of the Shining Stars, family welcome packets, PBIS, which is positive behaviors, interventions, and supports, our K-6 awards, and a whole lot more that they have been working on. There are actually, I think I have 10 presentations tomorrow from our teachers. And these are things that they create products that we actually use. So our new teacher handbook was created out of these groups, and they work on revising it every couple of years. The welcome packets to new families. You know, we assume that people know about our community. Well, there's a lot of nuances within our communities. So it's nice that when a parent registers their child, we're able to hand them some things that they can walk away with and say, okay, this is what Night of the Shining Stars is. We take it for granted that people know what this is. All right, or parking is a nightmare. Let me tell you how you get in and out of the school. Something as simple as that for new families means a lot. So, and then these are some of the things that we did. Tiger was a group out of, I think it was the University of New Hampshire. SEL, Social Emotional Learning, they came and gave a great K6 or K4 presentation to our kids. We had a great trunk or treat this year until the rain came. If you remember the Friday before Halloween, it unloaded on us. So we had about 45 minutes of great time, and then it just let go. But that was a PTO sponsored event. There's one of our students, Carly, on an excavator. Fire department, Mr. Hampton out. He's got to do bus duty, and he's out there with a mandolin singing with the kids. And the last one was this is alum. I had several of our alum. They feel comfortable enough just kind of coming to the door and saying, "We want to talk to Jay." And they come in and they said, "We want to be able to scrub the side of the building, and we're going to provide everything we need. Can we talk to your person who's in charge of the building?" And so on a Saturday morning, I'm going to forget. It was Lorraine, and there's oh gosh, I'm trying, Ted Winta, and I can't remember who else was there, but we had a great time scrubbing the side of the building and spraying it with some marble safe material that they use over at St. Stan's at the cemetery to clean. So this is what type of community support we have. And so if it means me showing up for a couple hours on a Saturday morning to help spray the side of the building and scrub it, that's what we do. So but that's really my presentation. I'm awfully proud of the work we do. It's a great place, and I stand by a K-12, pre-K to 12 education is something we should really embrace. A lot of our older students, we don't have study halls. The older students actually go work in classrooms instead of taking study halls. That's actually really cool. So they're giving back, and they remember when the older kids came in when they were younger. So that is something truly that other schools can talk about. You might try it once in a while. This is an everyday thing that we do. So, and I can answer any questions you have. I could probably go on a little longer, but I apologize. I know you probably have a lot on your agenda tonight, but there's great things that go on in all of our schools. Great things that go on in all of our schools.
Impressive. Linda, did you have a question?
I just want to make a comment. Thank you so much. These presentations are amazing. I hope that the greater community of people out there can see them to find out what is happening in the school and what they're supporting. I have two friends that retired from your school, right, Jay, and they can't get enough of it. They keep going back and subbing and
Yes.
Anyway, it really shows that your school there fills our vision, which is empowering, engaging, and one more thing, preparing students for the future. So that's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, it is a work in progress, that's for sure.
And there's always a lot to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Joe.
I'm gonna go back to the middle school basketball game.
All right, on to general public comment. Anyone online to speak tonight? On to the consent agenda. So we have the minutes from December 8th and warrant 466, 468, and 470. So I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by George. Any discussion? Any questions? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. On to superintendent reports. Superintendent's report. So there was no report. It's a short month. So between that and the strategic plan and the superintendent goals that are in the packet, did anyone have any questions or I don't know, Chris, if you wanted to add anything?
No, I mean, I tried to it's very thorough, it's very long, but I just want to make sure we capture all, one of the nice things when we do have these building presentations that we do get to see a lot of the great things that are going on in schools, and I think when I list all these things, it really is a result of the work that our admins are doing and our staff are doing. It's part of our strategic plan, so really it's I set the vision, I just help our admin provide them the resources that they need to get the job done. And I think, like I said, we are very lucky to have the individuals we have in our SU. So we understand we've come a long way, but we also have a long way to go. And I've been in education over 30 years, and I think at every place I've worked, we've said the same thing. So you're always going to keep working to improve. So, and understanding that. So, but feel free if you look through this in the next day or so or whenever, just have any questions, always can feel free to reach out about the strategic plan or about my goals.
Okay. I just had a couple questions on the, for the, which one's first here? The strategic plan update on the second page for just the school culture and climate survey. Did you guys have like a for the result? Did you have a good results for?
So we administered this in November, to our community members, to our staff, to our students. We have taken a look at as a whole, just look at, sat down as an admin team, discuss some of the trends. We will then be releasing the individual results back to building admin so they can then take a look to see, areas of strength, some great things are going on, but also some areas that they might want to just kind of focus on or just continue to work through. So, we could provide an update. Our goal is to provide an update to the board about some of the things that we found and some things that we're going to do, but we're still working through because there are right now some, as with any survey, there are identifying comments that we want to kind of just, work through and just how do we then present that publicly without identifying a staff member or whatever else. But I think the one thing I'd like to go back to our admins, they've looked at the data, they're eager to make some changes and have already made some changes as well. So, and like I said, it is, school culture and climate. You also have to understand the nature, the time when you give it, that it does impact feedback as well. So, but.
Okay, yeah, that was kind of, because I don't think, as far as the results go, I think that's something that obviously administration is going to take and use. But I just kind of was trying to picture, for a survey, is it going to be different from like elementary kids and then from the high school?
So we had a good conversation about this as an admin group where we felt that some of the questions that our older students would be able to address or answer, that the elementary would not. So we know that we sat with the elementary principal to talk about, well, how can we talk with our kindergarten students or first grade students and get some information, and it was done in a more informal way of just about feedback. Because obviously you're looking at student safety. Well, how do they feel safe in school? A kindergarten first grade question, first grader is going to answer much differently, when the teacher's asking the questions as opposed to trying to check off a box on, 1 to 5 somewhat safe, safe, so it's just. Yeah, so we have made some adjustments, and this is kind of establishing a baseline for us. That we're going to take a look at this. So we're obviously going to look at the survey, the questions, the results, and then any adjustments that need to be made. Just because we're continuing to look at, did this provide us the feedback that we're looking for as a whole, as well as individually within our buildings. So
that's great. The other question I had was under the goal update on the first page. It says jump rope alignment. I'm not quite sure exactly what that means. Is that jump rope alignment to align for like all schools, or?
You're looking from the strategic plan, or?
Yeah, under goal 1,
yeah.
Progress up to date is underway for jump rope alignment.
Yeah, I know, Lisa. Lisa, do you want to talk a little more about this since you deal with?
That was actually my only update in the few days of school we had since our last meeting. But as we're doing any kind of revision or update to our curriculum, either program resources like our new Bridges program for math, or any updates that we make to priority indicator documents through common formative assessment work or curriculum work that we do, sometimes there are implications for how we're assessing students to align better with instruction that's happening in the classroom. And Jump Rope is our grade reporting system that our teachers are using, and we have unified course plans for teachers for all of our courses. And so if we make any kind of adjustment to our curriculum, then we need to make an adjustment to the course plans in our grading system. So we align how we're reporting grades with how we're instructing the curriculum that we're using. So, for example, we just had an elementary math team that met right before the break, and Mr. Wiedemann and myself met with them and worked through aligning all of our math course plans to the Bridges, the updated Bridges program. So now they're streamlined and aligned much more closely. They were previously aligned to the priority indicators that we had prior to the adoption of Bridges. So just an example of the kind of alignment that we do as curriculum is updated.
Great, that answers my question.
And many thanks to that group. They worked really hard to do all that work. And once, I should say too, because Jump Rope is a living system, once we update it, we're able to roll that out to all of our teachers automatically, which creates a lot more consistency and cohesion than we had previously with the Jump Rope assessment system. So all of our teachers are then able to assess the same things in the same way across our schools, which is one of our goals with our curriculum work. Sorry, Linda, go ahead.
Just a comment again, but it is that anyone who's listening and wondering about school climate and thinking that schools only teach math, reading, and writing, they should hopefully believe that building that school climate is foundation for learning. You know, it's just realizing that you've got a social place. It's not just an academic place. You've got a social place with all these people coming together, and the students are learning about how to interact, responsibility, decision-making, regulation. So I'm just really glad that it's part of the strategic plan. And I hope people listening will agree that's true.
So any questions on the strategic plan update or superintendent goals update at all before we move on? And then, okay, so we have assistant superintendent's report. I don't know. I think it's kind of the same thing, short month. If there was anything else you wanted to add, okay.
The only thing I did want to add.
That was my update. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Was just that, obviously we're keeping an eye on legislative session, what's going on. I know that we did receive an email alert about Senator Baruth today during his address to the Senate. If you have an opportunity to take a look at it, I think it's like 12 minutes.
Yep.
But did make a proposal to cap school spending.
Yep.
I would just advise board members just kind of take a look at that. I quickly was able to watch it right before the meeting, so I know that talking with a couple of other superintendents just about thoughts. But there are things that are moving and things to be aware of as they're being brought forward. So I just want to make people aware that I'm sure that the Superintendent Association will probably send something out within the next day or so about this proposal that he had just put forth before the Senate today. So.
Be an interesting legislative session, that's for sure.
And like I said, I just encourage people to continue to pay close attention to what's going on. So, and if you have questions, please contact your senators or representatives about what's going on.
Okay, thank you. On to personnel, informational, contracts, open positions. And did anyone have any questions, concerns about those? All right. And finance, we have the monthly reports. Any questions on the financials? All right, and then on to old business. So we have on here the X73 and redistricting. So we had kind of tabled a lot of that discussion to put focus on the budget and wait for the redistricting task force to finish their work. So this is kind of like a twofold discussion. One in regards to inviting our legislative representatives to our next board meeting And then also, having a discussion about, how the board feels in terms of the redistricting task force recommendation, and I guess what we would like to have, or at least keep in focus for the upcoming legislative session too, because as Chris just said, there's talk of potential changes that would affect the budget, and so the first part to this is the redistricting task force. So I don't know. I hope everyone had a chance to read through it and kind of get up to speed on my thought is I don't know what this is going to look like if it's accepted, and but it's just something that I figured it would be good for the board to discuss, and if not, at least keep on the radar for moving forward. And last month we talked about inviting our legislators, and it was part of that discussion was also getting some feedback from local boards on, questions to address for our legislators, and that didn't happen. So it's kind of like we're back to where we were last month as far as that discussion goes. I think we could always just invite our representatives for a cordial conversation and just an update on the legislative session. I kind of feel that maybe February might even be a good time, because I think by then there will be more information on what could be coming down through the legislature, but then also at the same time they might be like, well, we're too busy to even come to a meeting, in person at least. But anyway, so I'm happy to hear what other people think and where we want to go with a legislative invitation. And
so I don't think they have to be in person. I think they can be virtual. I mean, board members join virtually, so that really isn't a reason to have them not come. I think just based on what Senator Ruth said today, it's important for them to hear from our supervisory union and our member districts about the impact that. I think it's important to remind them or inform them that we are not a 12% increase district or supervisory union, and so when they go and speak, that you need to keep those kinds of things in mind, because 12% seems to roll off the tongue really easily for anyone that sits under the Golden Dome, and that's particularly disappointing when two members that sit on Senate Ed are live in towns within this supervisory union, that they're not a bit more informed about what's going on in their own backyard. So for those reasons, I think it's important for them to come. I don't think it's important to provide them with questions. I think if members from boards that don't sit at the SU, anyone, if it's on the agenda, and it can go out in the GRCSU communication newsletter or whatever, encouraging other people to come and to attend. I think as representatives to this area, they should want to come and speak to their constituents and hear what they say. It's disappointing to me that in the past that does not seem to be their preference. That this is going to be, it appears, if you listen to senators or those that are speaking in the media, a fast moving Senate session with what they want to accomplish. and the things they want to do, because a lot of them have said they're not happy with the task force, but I wonder now if they won't start backtracking, as some of them had, when they have heard what the public out there is saying when they have gone and had these meetings, particularly the Synod Ed committee. I'm not sure that they're hearing exactly what they thought they might be hearing, at least when you're listening to those that are speaking to Synod Ed. So I think it's important for them to come. I see no reason why they can't join virtually. That's the benefit of living in the tech world that we live in today, that they can be under the Golden Dome, but they can still be tuning in to their local school and select board meetings. And if they say they can't, I think that's problematic.
Linda?
Yeah, Lisa, she's right. I mean, it's such a big time in our Vermont education history is what they're doing right now, and they've got to be more involved. The task force did so much work. I've read through it once at least, and there's so much information there. They've got to address these things that have come up, and what they said, what do people want? It's in the report. So now they asked, they've got to address the needs. And, you know, even like there's one page, key themes on page 11. I mean, those are the things. It'd be so easy to say, okay, here's a theme, you know, this is important, just to make them aware, because how would they know unless we speak to each other? They would not know what's really happening in a district. I don't see how they could. So I hope that it can happen. I'll be there.
I think they're very aware, and that's why they don't want to engage. I want to share something real quick. I feel like I've seen this movie before, because I took this clip 2 years ago when we were trying to pass our budget. And then you guys are talking about capping spending on schools and things. So this was actually the title of the article based on a study was "The Cost of Cutting School Spending: Lessons from the Great Recession." This was talking about COVID, and tax rolls decreasing during that time, and revenues and things, and looking at cutting spending. But it looked at a 15-year span before and after the Great Recession, and basically, I'll just read this verbatim. It says, "The results of the study show that declining state support and subsequent cuts in local school budgets can slow student progress with potentially lasting consequences. First, the spending declines that followed the Great Recession halted a 5-decade-long increase in student test scores in reading and math. Second, those cuts also were associated with slower rates of college going among students on track to become first-time college freshmen. Though the impact of tough economic times on public schools may be felt for years to come, the severity of the consequences for students can be minimized by maintaining support for instruction as much as possible." So I just wanted to kind of go back to that, because, like I said, it's like we just had this conversation 2 years ago with the same headlines on the Herald and Vermont Digger and everything else, and we're right back at it. But as far as the environment within the schools, that hasn't changed, nor has, I feel like, the focus and opportunities to find better ways to fund the schools either. It's just like, let's cut. I don't think that's the right tact. So that's all I have.
Okay.
I haven't watched this Senator, but I will.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else?
If there is a question to give them ahead of time, so that we don't ask this question when they are here virtually or in person, with an excuse that I'll have to look into that. It seems kind of sketchy where the savings are coming from with the governor and the Agency of Education's plan. That plan should have been, budget should have been shared with the education committees. Where are the savings coming from if their plan goes into effect? Exactly. where's the savings coming from? That's what I'd like to know.
Agreed.
Linda?
Yeah, a question would be, where would the cuts, okay, if you put a cap on a budget, it's really a decrease because everything goes up. So my question would be, where do you think you're gonna cut that would not impact students, like you were saying, Tim? Because in the report, the cost drivers are healthcare, but you can't cut that because there's, that's a done deal. Okay, mental health services, special ed services, there would be repercussions if you cut those sort of things. The aging school facility, I mean, that's a whole different issue. I don't know why the federal government isn't involved in that, but that's beyond what we can talk about tonight. And then transportation, I've seen that even in our own budgets, the warrants, the transportation costs are so high. I don't know. I just wonder how they think that's going to happen without hurting students. It's a worry.
Okay. That's good. Okay. And Lewis?
I just wanted to point out that CLAs, which are normally come out on December 15th, still have not been released. The state did put out an estimated CLA document in December, and based on those estimates, all of our districts are looking at significant decreases in CLA, and so I'm hoping that when the actual amounts come out, they're a little bit different, but again, the state is here almost 3 weeks late on data that's supposed to come out, and we need to make decisions based on data that might not be accurate.
Wow. Okay. Next week's gonna be fun. All right. That's good. Okay. So, all right. So I think that'd be good. We'll definitely have an invitation for legislators next month, and then because I've been asked a few times too if legislators were coming, and we'll definitely let the board know who's accepted and who's coming too ahead of the meeting. And then I think the other part of this discussion too was, I guess, in terms of the redistricting task force report, and just looking for consensus on where board members and where the board stands on some of this as well, because we have been following a lot of the redistricting stuff, throughout the fall, and we haven't had that discussion yet. So I thought it might be important, but to at least have a discussion on it. We could always wait until the full board is here as well. So, any thoughts, concerns?
I like the Board of Cooperative Education idea. I mean, that's something that's been used in New York for quite a while. And it's something where we voluntarily get together to share services, and the state won't be controlling it. That's probably the best part. As much as I hate to say it.
It's probably a good idea to take the report. I don't know if everyone's seen it, and I don't know, can we put that in drives for board members, or is it too big to do that?
It's in.
I think it should be in. I think a place the copy of the report and a summary of the report that I provided in last month's
Okay,
drive.
all right, I didn't know. If it was,
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
I can have Christine drag that into this month's as well.
Yeah, I have it
Okay.
from something else. I didn't even read it in the drive. So.
That's okay. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, so it got put in there yesterday because I had emailed Christine after she had went.
Okay.
And
Okay.
but okay, yeah. But yeah, a summary would probably be helpful too. I mean, it's not that long of a document, but
Yep.
it still is.
It's probably a good idea if the legislature members decide to agree to come, that people have read that, so you can reference it and discuss that at the February meeting. So, and that's with the expectation that they've actually read it too. That may be a big one.
I think there's some good stuff to be familiar with in there, especially as things progress in this legislative session. And I'm curious myself too on how like voluntary mergers work and what if this is all just suggestions, but they haven't figured it out yet. You know what I mean? So it could just be more complicated. More complications to dealing with Act 73. Linda?
Yeah, it's 41 pages, but really only up to page, I forget, 21 or something is like all the information, and then the rest of it is all appendix with so much like other things you could look at, but just to give you an idea of how long, lengthy it is. But if you look at it, if you just pick like one part that it jumps out at you, that would be great. It's a lot, but it's not really as long as it looks.
Well, and I think the question might be, are they even going to reference it? Because the AOE, Zoe and the governor have both said how distraught they are about how they handle the task force and like that. So, and just like George spoke about the cooperative, that's something they don't believe in. So are they even going to use this as any kind of guidebook, or has this all been for naught? And I think that is a question worthy of asking Senate Ed committee members. I mean, either this is something you're using to guide your path forward, or have you already taken it and put it in the recycle bin?
Yep. And if I recall, there was a lot of discussion too about that they can reject the proposal. So if they had produced 3 maps, they could reject them and essentially even combine, modify. I would imagine this applies to that as well.
Sure.
And so, yeah. Okay.
And I was going to say, if the board would like, I can work with Lewis tomorrow and provide like a brief bullet point overview of Senator Bruce's proposal, just for the board. Just
Sure, that would be good. Yeah.
Just
What those
Yeah.
implications look like.
right.
Yeah.
Just because I said things are fast moving, so people may be asking
yeah.
you about this week or next week. So just we'll do like a little 1-page or something for the board, just to.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
And I'm sure there'll be a lot of articles. I'm sure already.
Oh yeah. All right. Before we move on, anyone else have anything to add? Okay. Okay. So on to new business. Board goals check-in. So in the drive, and this, I think this was the same as the other one. This was put in yesterday because I didn't get it to Christine in time. But I went through, and if you recall, when we had approved our goals back in, I think, August, I went through and kind of updated each one and just kind of added some of the stuff the board has worked toward. And essentially, what I'd like is, we just review it, go through it really quick. If we would like to add anything to this, or just, part of this is just to make sure that we're following through with some of these action steps. And apologies, I probably should have highlighted some of the changes, but yeah. So for our goal number 1, regularly and consistently engage in communication with the GRCSU community and evaluate itself at least once on community engagement and public communication efforts. So, we had successfully, we created a committee, and through that committee, accepted a recommendation on informing communities through an email subscription. Currently that work is still being done through the communication committee. Is there anything else the board would consider to add to action steps to move forward with this goal at all? And I think in part of this too, with not just the community engagement as a whole, but also I think we incorporate the budget communication as well into some of this, which we know is being done both on the website and through Linda?
Well, on the chart, under action steps, I don't think we've done them all yet, but you can't do them all right away. I mean, we just barely got started, so it just gives us something that we have to do later on. With survey the community members and, what was the other one I saw? I guess that was the one, talking about what different local districts are doing, communicating better with, or making a point of asking districts, what are you doing to communicate with your constituency?
Okay.
So I think it's fine, but there's stuff that we can still do. We could talk about that at a meeting. But right now we really were focused on getting this MailChimp up and running. I think it's really a gift if people would, get it. They'll get the information will go right to their email. They don't have to search for anything. So I'm hoping it works.
Okay. All right, that's a good point. So there's still plenty to work toward. All right. On to number 2, participate in school redistricting task force process. In Act 73, exploring and advocating for an SU structure. We did some of this. I'm not sure where else to go from here other than what we're currently doing as far as, just following legislation and anything that applies to Act 73. And I think, part of this action step as well was reviewing and discussing the task force recommendation, another reason why it was on the agenda too. So, any comments, questions, input on goal number 2? Okay. And then number 3, support and monitor implementation of the strategic plan goals and FY26 CIP goals. Again, a lot of this is already incorporated in our work plan and stuff like that. So,
Is this something we're doing every meeting?
No.
Okay.
No.
We're going to do it quarterly, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You mean this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I know.
I'm going to say, it's like, we need to take a breath and do something before you can talk about it.
What's that?
We need to do some of it before we have a discussion here about
No,
it.
it's just like a 6-month check-in,
Yeah.
and then we do it again.
Okay.
At the end of June, May or June or something like that. It's in the work plan, and
Unless there's a milestone in here that we need to look at sooner, yeah, I always thought it was periodic reviews like that.
yeah. I mean, because if we're not reviewing and going through these documents, then why even bother, setting priorities and stuff like that. That's kind of my thought behind it too. But yeah, it's just it's also kind of like an evaluation. Are we still doing this? And I think it does it also ties into DQS as well. So, all right. So nothing on goal number 3. I mean, I think it. This is one that we were currently doing before, and are still following along. So, okay. So, if that's it, then we'll move on to general public comment. Did anyone wish to speak? Same people. And then our next meeting is February 3rd. For future agenda items, we'll have a legislators, but then also I think we'll have we'll probably have communication committee update on that as well.
If the legislatures agree to come, I think we should probably do them as part of the program rather than have a presentation.
Oh, you mean the staff and student highlights?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would suggest maybe.
Okay.
So we can, I think Pulteney High School, but I'll tell Joe that just to hold off.
I mean, that would be my thought. It seems like a lot.
Instead of having one party wait for the other to
Yeah, that's fine.
finish,
I have
so
no problem.
if they come.
Yeah,
If they agree
that's
to
what I'm
come.
saying, if they agree, yeah.
I mean, I was going to say
Some will-
they could hear what's going on in schools. But you got a point. I mean, if they're not sitting around and waiting. Okay, yeah, we can have
I just
them.
feel like if they're gonna attend, we should allot more time to that. I mean, February we don't have a lot going on. That should be the focus of the meeting.
I agree. Okay. All right, that's all we have. So, what's that? Oh, Amanda, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. You just mentioned community engagement update in February. I was wondering if the board had any specific ideas or questions that we should come prepared with. If you guys would prefer like a document be prepared, and if so, what information you would like to be interested in, like how many subscribers or how many people have opened our email or what else we're doing, or just kind of specifics so that maybe we're a little more organized to give you guys what you're looking for.
I think
When
that
we
would
do that in
be the
February?
general expectations.
What's that?
That would be the general expectations. How many people you have signed up? How many people open?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it said you were going to get 3 emails yesterday. I already got 2. So, I mean,
One of those was a test email, and then so you everyone only got 1 email yesterday.
Did come yesterday.
well, they were both the same. So,
Yeah, you got the test email too. So yeah, I think the analytics would be good, and I think
what the goals are, what they're looking to do.
yeah, and so you're meeting at the end of this month, correct?
We are. I just didn't know if it was something that you wanted us to give to Christine to put in the materials for you, or if it's something that you want to hear us present. I don't know what's helpful for the board. I know
I
last
think
month
they
there
can
was
just
the mention
present it.
that it would be helpful if we had a more clear report, so I just want to make sure we achieve that.
I think they can just present it. I don't think it has to be that formal.
Well, if you have, it depends. Like if you have any kind of in-depth or any kind of recommendations, or it might be helpful to have some of that data you were talking about too, that folks can just look ahead of time. If you have something substantial, other than just some notes, I would say it'd probably be better to put it down so folks can read it ahead of time, is my opinion. But yeah, I think it just kind of really depends on how your meeting goes, really. But
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's all we have for tonight, so.
When will we be meeting in March?
Oh, that's a good point. Did we shift the date? I can't remember.
I don't,
We
I don't have anything.
still have it
down
at-
if we did.
On the 3rd on the calendar, but that is town voting day.
Yeah.
In the past, we've met on town meeting day. It's voting, so
That's right.
I didn't know that.
I
Just
mean-
wondered if we were gonna change it or.
Do we need to move it after our local boards because we still have to?
we have to do reorg.
Reorganization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should do it the following. You should do it after local boards meet. So that's right. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah. The 17th.
So the week of the 16th? Because 10th, 11th, and 12th would be our normal meeting dates for Rutland Town, Wells, and Corey Valley.
Sure. I would just put that on the agenda for or on February's agenda.
Okay. The 17th is St. Patrick's Day. All right. We'll have it on.
What does that mean? If we come, then we get refreshments.
No, everyone's got to wear green.
Oh.
All right. Thanks, George.
No.
Good catch. All right. So we'll take a motion to adjourn at 7:06.
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 I
All right. Motion carries.